everyone, welcome back to A Wild Approach. My name is Macy Lou, and in today's video we are going to be talking about how you can enjoy your garden in all seasons. Gardening is a very cyclical activity. By its very nature, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end in a sense. Winter is the time of dormancy and sleep. Spring is the time of the beginning of the new cycle. A sort of renewal is felt across the landscape. Green leaves emerge from the dark brown soil. Summer is the middle of the season and the peak of most of the blooms and the life itself. There are so many varieties of insects at this time, and the amount of diversity of both animals and plants is astounding. As autumn sets in, however, you can feel the winding down of the cycle. The leaves start to change, the temperatures decrease, and plants start to look more brown and dry. Eventually, as the leaves fall, this creates the beautiful bounty of leaf clutter, which will become the next generation of soil. Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Please don't forget to hit the like button if you are enjoying this content so that I can know what videos you all like the best. Do you need a short, quick guide to get started in wildlife gardening? Well, turns out I've got just the thing. I just came out with a new free ebook just for you, and it's called A Wild Approach to Gardening 101, and it's available on my website today at macylou.com/shop. It's free, so go check it out. What do you have to lose? In the comments down below, let me know when you consider the end of the cycle is. Do you consider the end of the cycle to be the calendar's year end, December 31st? Do you instead consider the end to be the end of autumn itself as the season's end? Or lastly, do you consider the actual end of the cycle to be the end of winter, as the new spring growth starts to show, which would in turn gradually start the cycle over again? I'm curious where most of you stand on this one. So how can we enjoy our gardens in every single season instead of just in the spring and summer? For me, it's mostly easy to enjoy every season, but I recognize that winter in particular can be pretty difficult for some people, for a lot of people. However, I didn't want this video to only cover winter. Some folks struggle in the summer instead. You know, some people get the summertime blues, just like some people get the wintertime blues. So I felt it was more important to create a video about enjoying every single season. This way, it gives a more detailed look at appreciating our landscapes in all parts of their cycle. First, let's talk about spring. Spring is usually a pretty easy one to appreciate. After a long, cold winter, we see new spring growth and we get excited. We're grateful for the plants coming back awake after a long sleep. Maybe there were some plants that you were nervous wouldn't come back, but they did come back. I think most of us gardeners love spring and have no trouble appreciating it. Everything feels new and fresh, the lighting is better. The sunlight in the morning in spring has no comparison to any other time, in my opinion. If you struggle with spring, talk about why in the comments down below. Okay, so on to summer. This one is usually pretty easy to love too, for the most part. I personally struggle with the heat, but the rest of summer is pretty wonderful. I love the butterflies that show up in large numbers during this time. I love the blooms that explode throughout the season. I love the birds getting a bath in the pond. It's mostly wonderful, it's just too dang hot sometimes. To cope with the heat, I use sunscreen, a hat, sunglasses sometimes, as well as patio umbrellas. But I've also planted trees and shrubs in my garden, and over time, several of those are finally starting to shade some of the garden and create little pockets of lower temperatures. It's so important to me to have at least one tree that provides shade. I have many trees as of now. If you're sensitive to heat like I am, don't forget those ways to protect yourself like I mentioned earlier. The sunscreen, the patio umbrellas, hats, UV blocking clothing, trees, staying hydrated, and sometimes just staying indoors and enjoying the garden from the windows if you need to. You could reduce your time outdoors on the most extremely hot days of summer. This is another reason it's a good idea to create some garden spaces near your windows, so you can watch the butterflies and the birds from inside your house too, especially when you need to take a break from the heat. While we are in the middle of summer, it's also a great time to take lots of garden journal notes. It's also good to do in spring, but by mid to late summer, you likely have a lot of observations you want to document. Which flowers performed best and provided the most food for the most insects? Which trees provided the best shade? And how much of the garden is shady now? Documenting the bloom times for the plants is also such a great thing to do each year. After a few years, you get a very good idea of the bloom times on everything you have planted on average. Become an investigator for the rest of the year. What made your garden come alive this year? What do you want to double down on, and what do you actually want to change and do differently? These are all great questions to answer in your garden journal. You do have a garden journal, don't you? Don't you? If not, I suggest starting now. I've lost count how many times I've looked back at an old garden journal. I've done it so much. It helps me get better at winter sowing, at deciding what species to plant, at what wildlife shows up when, and it also helps me learn more about the phenology of my garden. According to the dictionary, phenology is the study of cyclic and seasonal natural phenomena, especially in relation to climate and plant and animal life. The way I like to explain it, which is probably only a slice of the overall term, is it refers to the bloom times, times of leafing out in the spring, the times of leaf changes in the fall, the times that the specific bird species show up, such as the hummingbird, plant growth, and plant dormancy. Recording these phenomena in your garden journal will help you make garden decisions. How? Well, if you have specific garden goals and the phenology side of things comes into play into those goals, you can start to investigate what is working for you and what is not. This is evident in wildflower bloom time charts, just as one small example. If you'd like a video dedicated solely to phenology, by the way, let me know in the comments down below, because I don't think I've done that yet. Okay, so I think we've demonstrated how to appreciate spring and summer. Now let's discuss fall. To me, appreciating autumn is natural. It's easy for me. Not everyone feels the same. To a lot of folks, and understandably so, fall is the time that marks the end of summer and the time right before things go dormant and brown and dark. The time when the nights become longer, days become shorter, and as the temperatures drop, frost comes inevitably. Insects become quieted, some go through a sort of hibernation and hide in the leaf litter, some die, some are hidden away in a chrysalis or a cocoon. Either way though, they are no longer as loud as they were in summer. Summer comes alive with the buzzing sounds of insects and the croaking of frogs and toads. But autumn also has these sounds too, until it doesn't. Until it's colder and there are less sounds to be heard. By the time winter arrives, things get a lot more quiet overall. So, I get why a lot of people dread this time of year. It feels like the end of the cycle because it is inching toward the end of the growing season. But let's look at it in a different way. Not only is it beautiful when the leaves change color, which often manifest in vibrant oranges, yellows, and reds, but as these leaves fall, they clutter the ground, and that layer protects a lot of our insect friends. It also protects our soil, which is the most important building block of any garden and any habitat. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Soil is the most important building block of any habitat and any garden. Another wonderful thing that happens is the flowers either become seeds or already have been gradually becoming seeds. And this means food for birds over the winter if we let a lot of those seeds stay put on the plant rather than cutting the plants back. It also means the wind can disperse them to new spaces where they may succeed as future plants. And this doesn't just apply to your own garden. This applies to your neighbor's gardens, to the driveway cracks, to abandoned lots in your neighborhood, to developments in your neighborhood where maybe they let this tiny little section of the land just go wild in the back behind a new development of a house, for example. There are just so many reasons to let things go to seed. Of course, we humans can also harvest these seeds and share them with friends and grow more plants for the next cycle. Seed saving in and of itself can be such a rewarding process. It can also be relaxing, even sometimes not so relaxing, but still. The seeds represent hope for the next cycle, hope for the future spring. Another thing I love about autumn is it starts to cool down. I prefer crisp autumn air, sweaters, blankets, fall color, leaf clutter, and hearing the crunch underfoot. To me, it's a magical time of year. As autumn turns into winter, this is where the largest struggle for our species seems to be. Aside from family get-togethers, gatherings with friends, and holidays to celebrate, it can feel gloomy and lonely at times, especially after December is over and after New Year's is over, and it's just like, January and February. I mean, that is when things can get really depressing sometimes, and it can feel like winter is just never going to end. Some of the birds are still around, sure, but there's less of a chorus of song. There's virtually no insect sounds at all. It can get very, very quiet. I notice though, when we get a big snow, the quiet is even deeper, and the snow mixed with the quiet is actually quite beautiful to me. I don't know why, but it feels nice. It feels peaceful. I think that's why I like it. Of course, where I live, we don't get a lot of snow sessions. Call them snow sessions. But lately, when we do get a snowstorm, which is actually probably the proper term, it can be pretty intense for our region. So when there's no snow on the ground and everything is all dormant and dark and gloomy, I very much see why depression can set in. But I think if we try hard enough, we can find so many things to appreciate about winter. I named a few already, mixed in with the not as enjoyable stuff, but here's some more. Going on walks in the winter is probably one of my favorite things of all time. Sounds exaggerated, but I'm serious. There are places I can walk in the winter that I would have been too afraid to go in the summer. In the winter, there's less worry about getting poison ivy, there are no mosquitoes, and the wasps and bees are not around to sting. I love my pollinators, but winter is a break from them. We get a break from the hustle and bustle of summer and the loud buzzing and the thick lushness of the plantings. I've been learning to love both the buzzing life of summer and the quiet, peaceful skeleton of a landscape in winter. How do I do this? Well, I kind of hinted at it above. I go for lots of winter walks. I bundle up in my best, most protective coat if I need to, maybe some gloves and a scarf. It depends on how cold it is outside. And I'm off to my nearby park, complete with loads of trails in the woods. Those woods contain a few evergreen plants. The evergreens stand out and are almost like a beacon in wintertime. This is when I go visit and talk to the magnolias, the hollies, the eastern red cedars, and the evergreen ferns and mosses. This is when a lot of the plants are dormant and bare, but not the evergreens. The evergreens finally show off. They kind of disappear the rest of the year when everything else is just as lush as they are. But in the winter, the evergreens are our landmarks. Also, you don't have to worry about ticks. I forgot to mention that. In winter, I don't have to worry about ticks or mosquitoes, and I just focus on my walking and the evergreen beauties around me. I take photos of these evergreens, I study them, and try my hand at identifying the species in front of me. I forgot to put this in the script, but I also like to look at trees and shrubs in the winter and try to identify them by their stems, trunks, and buds alone. Because it's a skill. Why not learn a new skill in the wintertime? And I think that is the perfect excuse to go for a walk. Not that you even need an excuse, but also it gives you something to focus on and something to do when you are a little bit less, excited to go for a walk. Maybe you're a little bit less excited because you think there's less to see. Well, there's actually a ton of stuff to see. It's just different stuff. In the winter, so much comes into view that you'd never see or notice in the summer. It's actually a gift, even if it's hard to recognize at first. In addition to the outdoor activities in the winter, of course, you can also rest and drink coffee or tea or cocoa and cozy up by a fire or a heater or in the blankets and read a good book. You can turn on your favorite TV shows and relax a bit here and there. You can have social gatherings and invite people over for a warm meal. You can cook seasonal foods, write in your journal, and rejuvenate yourself for the next spring and for the next year ahead. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If it gave you things to look forward to about each and every season, would you mind letting me know in the comments down below? See you next time. Bye everyone. Hi guys, cutting in here real quick to let you know that I have a new feature on my channel, and it is the join button. If you click the join button, there are going to be two options for you to choose from. You can choose to be a part of the Cozy Cottage group for $2.99 a month, which would give you the loyalty badges, emoji, and early access to all of my new videos. Or you can choose Secret Sanctuary for $9.99 a month, and this includes everything else I already mentioned in the $2.99 plus members-only live streams. So if we get some members in the Secret Sanctuary, I will have special members-only live streams. So thank you guys for considering it. Whether or not you can, I appreciate you very, very much. In celebration of spooky season, I've designed a brand new shirt called Night Watch, which features the owl that showed up to our garden just a few weeks ago for the very first time. I think this is a great shirt for the Halloween and autumn season, and I hope you guys do too. Check it out at my link in the description. Hey guys, don't forget to follow me on Blue Sky and Instagram. These are the two best social media accounts other than YouTube where you can find me and you can see me post photos of the garden, thoughts on wildlife, and more. So don't forget to follow me over there. To support the channel, like the video, comment, and subscribe. You can also support my work by buying art from me at macylu.com. Thanks for watching!